clients, especially new clients that I get, I try to coach them and tell them that fitness or health is about balance. I'm not telling them to only eat chicken, broccoli, and brown rice every day, 6 meals a day. But I'm telling them, I like to call it the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
80% of what you consume should be clean food. Your conscience should tell you, thank you. 20% of that, the office brings in donuts. They have cookies in the break room.
Yeah, I've been at that
You know,
office.
that use that for your 20%. Ask yourself, is that 20% really worth it? Or are you going to go to mom's house on Sunday and have meatloaf and cornbread and, all that macaroni and cheese, for instance? Just ask yourself, is it worth it? And is it going to throw me off balance?
Absolutely. And I love that you just segued into food perfectly for me here. One of the questions I also hear being bandied about at this time of the year is, what meal plan should we be on? There's so much noise, Ayana, about food choices. And I had a good friend recommend to me that I should be raw vegan or give it a try. It was something that he was doing.
Boy.
And I think he's vegan or vegetarian. And this is when my stomach problems began. So I was really kind of desperate to find a solution before I realized I had celiac disease. However, I really dove in, and I was crazy. Like crazy, meaning that I was off balance. I couldn't think straight. I hated everyone. I was hangry. I was mad. This was absolutely not for me. And even though I loved it in theory and it worked for him, it was a major no for me. Worked brilliantly for him, but not for me. So what's your advice to people who are trying to figure out the food aspect of healthy changing?
Well, Mo, food is a tender subject for everybody. And I think, and I agree with you, there is so much out there. There's Nutrisystem, there's Slim Fast, there's Purium, there's Advocare, there's, what is that, Shakeology, that's for Beach Bodies. There's just so much out there.
Herbalife Fit, something.
Herbalife, yeah. It's unfortunate because it is confusing. But I think what we need to do, just as the humans that we are, is actually listen to our bodies. And I learned this just because I'm so fascinated with anatomy and physiology. Our bodies will tell us exactly what we need and when we need it. We know that we need water. Water is a huge deal for our body. Most of us walk around dehydrated and don't even realize it. And water is like the purest thing that you can find. Of course, it's like in gallons or, whether you're drinking out of the tap, which sometimes we don't like that. But, we need to feed our body what it's asking for. I can't honestly say that your body is asking for a chocolate chip cookie. I mean, sometimes.
Girl, I might become a barrister and argue with you about that. I might get into my legalese here. I've had some moments where I felt like it was asking and demanding. But yeah, I know what you're saying. You're absolutely right.
It may be craving, some antioxidants or some carbohydrates. So sometimes we have to look at that. Is it really craving the chocolate chip cookie, or do you need some antioxidants that dark chocolate has to offer or chocolate has to offer, or do you need some carbohydrates that's inside the cookie, which is a sugar, so you lacking energy? And another big thing with that is our hormones. And, definitely us as women, we go through it, but men go through it as well. It's all about a hormonal balance, and our endocrine system actually plays a huge role in our hormonal balance and just how we interact with food. And food has so many different chemicals in them, and when we eat more of the processed stuff, it will definitely throw our hormones off. If we're eating too much sugar or too many carbs, it's gonna set a stage for cortisol, which responds to stress and it stores fat. So, we have to learn, I think, to eat more pure and seek things that are less processed. And that way our body can actually break them down. It'll take less time to break them down. And I think another big thing is try to remember you're eating to fuel your body, not to fill your body. So I'm saying that to say sometimes, Mo, we eat food, and like you said, with your stomach, we feel bloated and heavy or, lethargic and weak. And sometimes our chemical makeup has a lot to do with that. It's not just that something's wrong with us. It really could be the food that we're consuming that's causing this reaction with our body. Not every diet is made for everybody. So what your friend is doing may not work for you. Just like you said, you're moody, you're hangry, which I love. My sister got me a shirt that says, "Sorry for what I said when I was hangry."
Amen.
You know, but because you just don't know. And a lot of it, food plays an important role in that. And I think if we go back just to eating simple, you know, try not to have the super seasoned items, you know, just keep it basic. I'm not saying eat bland boiled chicken. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying don't eat the honey bun and then turn around and eat 3 slices of pizza and then turn around and eat, you know, and then try to eat the salad. I mean, granted, yes, you made a good choice. You know, that's like going to McDonald's and you know, like ordering a number one and asking for a Diet Coke. I really don't get that sometimes. But, you know, people do that. But I think if we just go back to the basics, keep it simple, your body can process it, your endocrine system and your hormones can respond to it and give you exactly what you need to fuel your body for the rest of the day. I think that's where people need to start.
Yeah, and there's something else too. I think that advice is so pertinent, so absolutely pertinent, because we are not the same people either that we were when we were in our 20s. And I really want you listeners to pay attention to that gem. We're not the same spring chicken, so you have to figure out what works for your body. I remember doing the cabbage soup diet when I was younger, and it worked absolutely great for me. And now I couldn't probably stomach it for, 2 days even. So that's such a powerful lesson. In all areas of our life, we must assess the season that we're in to adjust. And Ayanna, I know that you're transitioning right now into a phase of family and potentially motherhood. As you make this shift, what are your ideas of food and balance that you might pass on to your child, or how do you think that you might incorporate that as a mother, as you're working towards that?
You have a really good question there, Mo, because I had to put some thought to my new transition and how I was going to intertwine my, at times, extreme lifestyle into my new adventure and family. And I reflect back on some of the moms that I've had a chance to interact with in my classes or as a personal training client. And the biggest thing that I remember about all of them is plan ahead. They have to plan for childcare. They have to plan their food out. They have to plan for, meals when they get home. So I really give credit to planning ahead, and that's something I'm going to definitely start to practice. And I can see that will be successful when, as my life continues to grow, physically and literally, is to try to maintain that balance by planning ahead.
That is a key here, guys, planning ahead. And it's not just something that works in your diet and food life. I've noticed as a creative, it works in my life. If I'm not making a list, if I am not getting things absolutely lined up ahead of time, then I'm not succeeding. What is that quote? You plan to fail, fail to plan? Well, I don't know exactly how that goes.
Something like that.
Something
definitely.
like that. Is there any final advice that you want to give our listeners before they head into their 2017? Any final healthy advice?
I would just tell everybody, don't feel rushed to make it happen now. Quiet your hurry and your aspiration enough to be realistic and completely real with yourself, and commit to being confident in yourself to achieve whatever goals that you may have, whether it be fitness or personal or lifestyle change. Just quiet yourself enough to build the confidence from the inside, because once we're confident from the inside, we're more successful to make things happen on the outside. So, again, try to journal, make a vision board, write it down in a book, on a piece of paper. I do know some of my friends write on lipstick on the mirror, or those markers, those dry erase markers. So when they look in the mirror every morning, they have their vision in front of them. So I would say focus daily to balance and find that balance between yourself and the demands of your life, and always go back to your true desire, your true purpose.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Is there a quote that helps you get through life that you would like to share with our listeners? No pressure.
You and I both share a love for Maya Angelou, so
Yes, ma'am.
I had to break this out, you know.
Okay.
My favorite quote from her is, as long as you are breathing, it is never too late to do something good. So that speaks to me because, you know, I can't say I wake up every morning feeling like I'm walking on a rainbow. And sometimes we don't make the right decisions, and I had to get used to that, and that we make mistakes. But it's never too late. If I have breath in my body and I have all my right mind, you know, even when I don't feel like I have my right mind, I can still do something good. So that's why that quote speaks to me.
I love that. And, you know, I love Maya. I want to thank you so much, Ayana, for coming on and sharing energy with me today, making time in your very busy schedule to come and do that. If our listeners want to get a hold of you, is there any way that they can do that?
I would say email me. You can email me at HIS STAR studio at ymail.com, and just reference, you know, if you heard me on Evolve, or if you have any other questions, would love to give you some advice or hopefully send you in the right direction. And hopefully you have a good new year. Moving forward, you just find some balance and feel that you can be successful in your goal.
Absolutely. I'm going to repeat that. That's his star studio at ymail.com. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Thank you, Ayana. I so appreciate it, and I love you, and I'm just so glad you got to do this today. Thank you for being on with me.
Thanks. Thank you, Mo. It's my honor and my pleasure.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Guys, wasn't she great? I say that for all of my guests because I really believe it. I'm always looking to find amazing people to bring to you to share their message of how they succeed in their life in whatever their chosen path is. Not everybody is painting. Not everybody is writing. Not everybody is doing exercise or dancing like Miss Ayana. We all have a thing we shine at, and that's what I always want to convey here on Evolve. I got to spend the holidays with some wonderful people, and I got to interview some wonderful people over the holidays. And one of those people, Heather, her gift is working with the energy of people and helping people get into a place where they're healthy and happy and understanding who their best selves are. And she has a gift for managing. So just because her gift doesn't look like my gift doesn't mean that it diminishes any. And just because Ayana's gift doesn't look like Heather's gift doesn't mean that it diminishes any. She's shining in her space in what she does. She's brilliant at what she does. And so shout out to you, Heather. Thank you so much for being on as well. But I just want to say we all have a platform. We all have a place that we are supposed to be. And Ayana mentioned a couple times journaling. And really quick here before we go today, I want to mention something to you that a friend of mine shared with me very recently. I'll give a shout out to Sarah in the Keys. Thank you so much for this. She mentioned to me the idea of a bullet journal. I had never heard of it. Now, I write lists. The older I get, the more lists I write. I had a friend, Terry, give me that very good advice many years ago, and it's really helped to streamline my life. However, I have been trying to figure out a way to evolve, as I always am, even my own process. So, Sarah mentioned to me the idea of a bullet journal. Really just very recently. And I thought, what is this? So I went to the website. She sent me a few links. Thank you so much. And I checked it out. And I'm going to read this to you because I always say we're evolving together. And literally this time, we are going to be evolving together. I think this is something that listeners, you can get into. It's something that I'm definitely going to give a try. And this is what it says this is an excerpt from their site. The system. The bullet journal is a customizable and forgiving organization system. It can be your to-do list, your sketchbook, your notebook, and your diary, but most likely it will be all of the above. It will teach you to do more with less. I recently watched on Netflix, guys, a documentary called Minimalism, And I was fascinated. I've been telling my friends, if I could live in a tiny house, I would. I love the idea of owning your house outright and being able to live and do what you want to do. I have other friends that are interested in the tiny house movement. And so this documentary talked about that, as well as